Hello and welcome. Good evening to another episode of the Red and Big podcast. I'm your co-host, Biggs. What is going on? And we have our other co-host, Red. What's up, dude?
Hey, what's up, big man? Holler at your boy. Good to hear your voice tonight. How you feeling on Friday?
I'm feeling really good, dude. Like it's Friday. We got a nice weekend planned. I'm taking the wife and the wife and kids to the zoo tomorrow, so it should be a fun and interesting day.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to be a good, interesting day. I'll be working for most of the weekend, but it's definitely you always got to love Friday. It's a day where people kind of slow down and get to enjoy themselves, so it's definitely a positive day, right, for most people.
Oh, I agree. Um,
So what are we talking about tonight? Tell me a little bit about what we're talking about.
so I think tonight we're going to touch more on a little bit more of politics, and I think we're going to talk about the death penalty, and I think we might even talk about the COVID vaccine.
Wow. It sounds like an interesting conversation. We're going to try to keep it short and sweet, but we'll get more in depth if people like what we're talking about. But I definitely think there's some good topics. I mean, you want to start it off? I mean, do you want to identify, I guess you're what you consider a Republican?
Yes, I am definitely a registered Republican. I mean, I am living in the state of Florida, so I do support our governor, Mr. Ron DeSantis, which a lot of people don't like him, but me, I like the guy, so I think he's a good dude. And so yeah, I mean, and I know you don't like him, but I also was a big Trump supporter, and um,
Yeah,
you
I
know
mean,
what's our
yeah, I mean, I agree with you. You're a big Trump supporter too. I know. I mean, I agree with you 100%. Keep going. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. No, what I was gonna say, I was like, 'cause I know, you're on the other side, but and we definitely, don't agree on politics, but it doesn't matter if we don't, because if we all agreed, about and like the same shit, you know, this world would be a freaking dull place to live in.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's a big good point you brought up there. I mean, it's everybody has different political views. I mean,
Exactly.
you're my brother, and just because you're a Republican doesn't mean anything different to me. You vote for who you vote for. But,
Mm-hmm.
I guess you could say I'm a Democrat. I mean, I'm a definite Democrat. But I would also say, like, I guess I'm an independent Republican. I went over who's best for who's in office, and I really want people in office that, can understand people like you and I, and people that can understand, what America's made of today, not in the 1900s or the 1800s or, we're in
Right.
the 2000s. So I think that's important. And my views on Trump. I mean, it's nothing against him. It's just nothing personal against, the governor of Florida or the president or the ex-president of the United States. I just think
Right.
they're different, different than what I would vote for. I guess you could say, different political views. I
Sure.
mean, yeah. I mean, do you agree with shipping migrants wherever and everything, or?
Well, I mean, if we really want to get on that topic, I mean, like, people are not probably gonna agree with my feelings about immigration.
Yeah.
So, I mean, hey, you know what? I mean, this is a say all podcast. We have our own opinion. So if they really want it, here it is. I am totally against immigration. I think that, like, all these people that are coming in here, um, illegally should be stopped and sent back to their, places of origin. I have really strong beliefs about this kind of shit because, like, this shit would bother me. These people are coming in. You don't know who the fuck they are. They, they can come in, steal our jobs, freaking live here for who knows, tax free, and fucking, could be a freaking serial rapist. You don't know these people that are coming into this country, and they could rape our freaking women and rape our children, and like, who would want to see that? Who would want these people in our freaking country? I can go on and on about this. I mean, it's I know we wanted to keep it short and sweet, but like as far as
No, I
immigration
mean,
goes,
yeah, you got a strong opinion, and that's a good opinion. I mean, it's an opinion that you have, you know, and it's like you said. I mean, I guess they're taking our jobs and things. You know, I'm a believer in America, you know, the land of the free, and
mhm,
I believe that these men, women, and children, you know, 95% of them go to hell and back to get here to America,
mhm,
and when they cross the border, it's like, you know what, you made it here. I don't agree with I guess you could say with, you know, judging them because they are something that's not already migrated here. So, you know, I look around, I go to New York City, or I go here, and I've seen now that even in rural communities, there's Indians, there's Chinese, there's black, there's white, there's, you
mhm,
know, and the only thing I see left in communities that still really doesn't have papers is like Mexicans. Um, you know, there's a couple other nations out there, Russia, Ukrainians, you know, that don't have papers to be here in America. But yet then
right,
I look at those guys and I think I've never seen anybody in America work as hard as a Mexican. I've never
mhm,
seen, and you know, I mean, I don't know about, like I said, border crossing. You know, this rancher, this old white man just shot a couple guys that were crossing the border, and they were supposed to be unarmed, blah, 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 blah. I agree with
mhm,
that. He's protecting his land, he's got to handle his business. But, you know, like I said, I would not, I would hope that my great 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 grandfather, you know, when he came here on a ship, that they didn't
mhm,
fucking punch a hole in his ship and turn him around. I hope they would have fed him and brought him in and said, "Hey, we got a warm fire going, and you know, where are you from? And here's some papers." You know, years
right,
ago, America, you know, let's talk about, when we help build the other countries, you know, Italy, other countries that we have involvement with the United States military, and we gave the people from Italy and the people from France and the people from Germany and the people from, all these countries opportunities, you know, once they served their country, you know, they would get, brought here to America. So, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I know you got strong values and opinions on that. I just think it's like, I don't know. Who do you think's more trustworthy? Is it the family that came over the border, or the person that's been built and with American values? Who do you think's more? I don't know. Who's more dangerous? You think?
probably the person that's coming just right over the border,
Yeah,
in my opinion. But
yeah. But
I
I
will
have,
agree.
yeah. No,
I
go ahead. Yeah,
I
go ahead.
will no, yeah, what I was gonna say is, like, I will agree with you on the fact that a Mexican will be one of the hardest workers. I won't take that away from them because 'cause you're right, they are. But,
Yeah.
like, the
I
only
mean,
thing is
they're
and, like
hardest workers. They love yard selling. They love the American value. They love the American dollar. They love to
yeah,
work for cash. And I went on these mushroom farms. I owned a business for a Department of Banking business where, you know, we recover assets. And I've been on, you know, these big mushroom farms and these different places where, you know, you see immigrants working. And when you get there, you know, they're so scared, and they don't know what the hell is going on. You know, they just want to work their 10 hours a day, and they want to feed their family. And then I go to other areas in America, and again, I owned a business in the Department of Banking, and I'm taking a man's Ferrari, and he's
mhm,
got, um, a red laser on my team's head, ready to drop us and kill us, when we're just doing a job and saying, "Listen, man, you have 9 Ferraris, you haven't paid for one. We're here to take them." But yet we go into the mushroom farm and we say, "Hey, we're here for blah, 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 for a repossession of a car or a truck." And they say, "Oh, I'm sorry, he was taken by, uh, whatever it is, ICE. So he can't pay his car payment because he's not here no more, or whatever, or his payment for his boat or his house, whatever it is." But what
mhm,
I'm saying is I've met all walks of life, and I haven't yet. And I'm not saying that there's not bad Mexicans or whatever, but I haven't yet seen a Mexican person without papers that I haven't genuinely enjoyed. help me drywall, help me cut my lawn, help me do this, and
Yeah.
just friendly.
Yeah.
And I agree
Oh
with what
yeah.
you mean now. We can't accept everybody, like the whole world, but it's like years ago, it was like when you make it to this border, you took such a long trip to get here, as long that, and over the years now they made it, wait, you can't just get to the border. You have to have an excuse of what you were running from. And then when you get there, the other countries, they say, listen, there's no drinking water. My children are being raped. My wife is constantly threatened because she has to cover her face. My and it's like we went through 9 countries to get to America, and then what's happening is it's becoming a political opinion versus a humanity information, which is, can we really take on another 500,000 people? We can. Our military is weaker than it's ever been. It's older and more brittle, as in having. I mean, I'm an American. I love America, but I don't mean weak as in we're weak. I mean our kids that are between 17 and 18. You really think those kids nowadays? They're not joining the military.
Oh yeah.
It's done. And the military said, well, you know what? We're going to create this, this, and this. And it's so scary that militaries are now, they've been marketing on TV that says, "Hey, if you like playing video games, come join the army because our tanks are now half of our mini tanks are just like a video game, and it's really good." But I try to talk to my nephew. He loves video games. He loves this. I'm like, "Hey, join the military, man. They're going to pay for your college. They're going to give you a good opportunity. Like, just do this, man. They'll help you." And
Right.
it's no, no, no. So I don't know. I don't know what the right way to say about immigration. I do agree with you, that we cannot just allow people to jump and run. There are rapists, there are killers, there are this, there are this. But I really
Mhm.
say 95% of what's coming over our borders are men, women, and children that are either been sexually trafficked, which they're abused, which means that they've stuffed drugs up in their vaginas and they abuse them. So when they get to the border, they ship them out and there's a drug deal. But I don't
Mhm.
agree with that. But what I will tell you is, I wish we, as an Americans, all these billionaires that are in America, could give up $1 billion and we could create beautiful borders where we would have housing, where we could bring them in, test them, and get them to be a vital part of America. Because you know what? I'm telling you right now that I don't want anybody suffering in any country. So it doesn't matter to me if they're from fucking South Africa or they're from fucking Ukraine or if they're from fucking Russia. And I don't agree with Russia's war right now, but if their people are leaving and they get to the border at Poland, I don't agree with
Mhm.
Poland saying, well, because you're fucking Russian blood, you can't come over here. You know what? You don't have the same blood that I have in me. What do you? I think you have some Italian in you, Biggs?
Yeah, I do a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, so we can't. I don't feel like our country, the political has taken over in certain aspects, and they've made it as Republican or as Democrat or whatever. But it's like, wait a minute, man. I don't want it to be a day where they say, hey, if you're 25% Italian, you have to stand in this line. If you're 25% Irish, you stand in this line. Well, I can't stand in the same line as Biggs because they made a decision that anybody with, like, Ireland incense, is no
Mhm.
good, or like, who knows, like, I don't know. Immigration's a tough factor. I know you're a strong Republican, and I think you're a strong Republican because you're for strong values, and your values have been strong throughout your entire family. Your grandfather, hard worker, fucking builder.
Mhm.
Your fucking mother, hard worker. You, hard worker. The true American values, and Republicans are that. They're fucking hard workers, and so are Demis. But I'll tell you that I wish for 1 minute there would become a new um, political stage, and it would be, instead of being an independent or a Republican or Democrat. It used to be if you're independent, you just have values of all of them. Now it's independent means its own thing, like a Republican or a Democrat. Like, where are the people that are
Yeah.
just for the people? You know what I
Well,
mean?
isn't that like the Green Party or something?
There's trying to start something in that general Green Party, but it just doesn't get enough power because it's like you need money to get, the votes and this. I mean, the shame part about it is whether it's Republican, Democrat, Independent, Green Party, if they could put their money together and say, listen, you know what, you're not going to. I mean, how many billionaires are there in America? I mean, how many of these people are, I mean, these basketball players, for an example, I mean, they're making Football players, $1 million a football game.
Hmm.
And I said, listen, Republican or Democrat, every mayor, a couple mayors, I've thought about being a mayor of a major city. And I said, when I become mayor, one of the first things I would do is say, listen, every person that comes to the stadium has to donate $1 towards crime or hunger. So every day when them stadiums are filled, 70,000, that's $70,000 that feeds hunger and fights crime.
It's a good idea.
Yeah. And it's like,
I
it
mean,
doesn't mean that I'm Republican or Democrat. I just think this is a good idea. And I think things
that,
like the border, I don't think it should be as politicized like, oh, this president's not good because he did this, or he's not good because he did this. It's like, listen, we have always been the land of the free. All of a sudden, it's like, wait a minute, we decided we're going to stop taking, certain people. It's like, you guys are pulling some Nazi shit because you let my great grandfather come here, you let the Germans, you let everybody else migrate right on in. And all of a sudden, now it's like, wait a minute, if you are these 10 countries, you're considered trash. And it's like, wait a minute, bro. I have never met a
hmm
Mexican child or woman or man that I felt feared by, I felt endangered by, or I felt that they were going to steal my job. They came in America, and the reason why, nothing against Republicans, I know you're Republican, but they said they stole American jobs. Americans didn't want to truck drive anymore because they didn't want to get in trucks and drive long hauling. And the Mexicans said, instead of unloading trucks, we would love to drive long haul. So an American family man says, I'm not going to work 16 hours a day and drive back and forth from Florida. But a Mexican said he would do it. It's okay for us to say, hey, you know what? That's another person that migrated here that doesn't mind picking mushrooms and doesn't mind driving tractor trailers for 20 hours a day. You and I are Americans. You want to be home every night,
hmm
don't you?
absolutely.
Yeah, me too. So we should allow these Mexicans to come in here and say if they really want to drive our trucks and they want to go out there and they want to say, hey, because our great grandfathers aren't driving trucks no more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I agree with that. Like, I mean, it's nothing against the Mexican people. It really isn't. It's just that, I don't have an issue if you're gonna come in here, but I want you to do it legally.
Yeah, I want you to
Like,
do it legally, and like I said, and it's without political statute. It doesn't matter if the person's walking through, you know.
right.
I mean,
I mean, there's some.
if they stopped New York, man, when the ships were coming in and all the different countries were coming here, America we wouldn't even have a foot to stand on. It's incredible. America has a rule right now. It's a $500,000 invested in America. You get a visa to come here. So that is so fucking backwards. You're telling me that if you wanted to move your family to, say, Florida, and that's a different country, for an example, they want $500,000 for you to be able to come in? Like that's not even you can't I can't say me my son and my wife and my just me my son and my wife before I say all my other furry animals, but I'm just saying that if they told me for us to have safety that I had to pay $500,000, I don't even know what I would do. I think I would say, you know what, guys, we got to try and make it across the river. Biggs, would you?
Yeah.
I think you would take your beautiful children and your beautiful wife. I'd take my beautiful wife, my beautiful child, and we would tie together and we float across the river.
All right,
And we
let's
hope to
go.
damn sure when we get finally to land. Yeah, Julie's hoping, right? Julie hopes she don't got a leak on her float. Like, I mean, this shit is serious. I agree with you. I agree. You have very strong Republican values, and so does my wife, Julie. But like I said, if we take it out of the political spectrum, all of us with different opinions, whether it's Republican or Democrat, we all really can see page to page without arguing because it's the reality. Like, let them in here, let
hmm
them help our economy, let them help us. I mean, when I had a store at a flea market, my mother had a store like every Saturday, they would come there and all the Mexicans would pay cash and they would buy everything at my mom's yard sale store. But an American would come by and be like, why is this wrench $1? It's like, it's $1. And the guy's like, no. But a Mexican comes by and he's like, ma'am, this wrench is worth $10.50. I'll give you 5.75. And she's like, why don't we have $1? And he's like, well, it's worth more. It's like, come on. It's because, like I said, it's not. It doesn't. I agree with you that we have to watch what comes over our borders. And that rancher, like I said, the old man that just shot those people. It's a shame they got shot, but they walked over his ranch. It's a known drug trafficking area, and things had to happen. But uh, in reality, I do have strong views, though, like I said, about Donald Trump. But do I have strong views about a Republicans? That's where me and you are going to kind of be like, wait a minute, I thought you're a Republican, I'm a Democrat. If it was Biden versus Haley who was going to run against Trump, I would tell everybody I know to vote for Haley. She has Democratic views, Republican views, and she has for the people views. The first thing she said is, when I become president, every single person in Congress is going to get a mental check that is over 75. If they can't know what day it is and what color shirt they laid out this morning, they shouldn't be making the rules for your family or my family when we get sick or when we get good things like taxes and things like that. She's Republican, and I'll tell you right now, I'm a strong Democrat. But if it was her versus Biden, I would absolutely say 100% it's time to take a female president. Once again, I said it with Hillary Clinton. It's time for a female president. I know you're
Mm.
big and tough, you're bigs, and I'm big and tough Reds. But you know what? We both have wives and we like them. We depend on women. So why cannot a woman run the fucking United States of America?
The um do you honestly think like a woman would be okay though behind our
I
military?
do. I think a woman behind the military would be great. You know why? Because I think a woman behind the military and running our country as commander in chief, she would be able to, it's a different thing. You said it, your wife, you said it yourself, your wife has cancer. You said you wouldn't be able to handle it, but she is. So women handle things differently. Men are the one that die early from stroke, seizures, all this shit. Women don't. They can handle the shit. You know what I mean? Your wife took your daughter to the doctor the other day when she was telling you what she was going through. You're like, oh, I can't even listen to this. It's like nothing to the wife. Do you know what I mean?
He won't even go
Hmm.
into the doctor's appointment.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. But in reality, like I said, do I think we're ready for a woman? I do. Do I think we're ready for a Republican or Democrat? I don't know. I know for one thing, Biden as a president reset it to the respect of the office. And I think he should respect the office and say, I reset it. Again, no one knows anything other than what's going on when it needs to be known. And now, whether it's Republican or Democrat, I think every person that's going to run from president because of what Trump calls and now Biden reset the table to professionalism. Now I feel like whether it's Republican or Democrat, we're actually going to have people that run for president that need to that should be president. This girl
Mm.
Nikki Haley, I'm telling you, look her up. She's a Republican, man. She used to speak for the United States of America. She. I really, really, really think, like I said, I think she would be a good candidate, and I think anybody over 75 should have their driver's license checked. That's including if I live to
Uh,
75, I should have my driver's
oh
license
yeah.
checked.
I agree. I agree with that.
I'm
And
no
like
different than anybody else.
I think they should also be taking another driven or written and driving test. They should be retested.
Yeah, I
You
think
know.
testing is important. But like I said, I'm not going to think that when I'm 65 or 70. But to be honest, am I safe on the road or not? But when it goes to Republican or Democrat, I really hope people like ourselves end up in office so then people can hear the true voice. And it doesn't take $1 billion to become a mayor, $1 billion to
Right.
become a governor, and it becomes back to the American dream. And as for like migrants and stuff like that, man, I say we take them, we literally, these billionaires that are making all this money, we make them spend some of that money and we put up beautiful, gigantic facilities where we can um, quarantine those that want to cross the border, and we can fully check them,
Hmm.
and then allow them access to America because they made their journey. I mean, I'm sorry. These kids and these women, I don't care what anybody says. It's not right when you got to give your 13-year-old daughter away so you can feed your two sons. I mean, in these countries, these men, these fathers, man, have to make a decision. It's like, listen, I can't afford to feed my two little babies, my wife, then now I have to sell my 12-year-old daughter as a wife. And then that man says, you know what? No way. He looks at his family and says, you know what? We're going to go for America. And he gets to the border, and it's like all of a sudden, it's like because it's a political fucking easy thing for people to politically argue about. And the sickest part about it is whether you're Republican or Democrat, let's just be moral.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't give a fuck if a bum knocks on my door tonight. If he needs help, I will feed him. I will feed him outside because of where the world got. But I'll give him
Right.
a blanket and I will pitch him a tent and I will bake him. I'll get him a little fire and me and my wife will cook him a dinner and we will, put him outside and make sure he's safe. But we will not slam that door and tell him, get the fuck out of here. You know,
Right.
he could sleep in the barn. Like I found a kid at Turkey Hill the other day and he's sleeping in his car. And I'm like, for the last couple weeks I've been fighting back and forth. Like, do I make him a hut? Like, how do I save this kid? Like, he's going down. He's got no mother, he's got no father, he's a little kid. He's going down and he's fighting as hard as he can. I watched him fight. I took him to get his driver's license. He's a big Republican, and him and I kind of butt heads on that policy for a minute. He told me they're spies, fake election. And I'm like, listen, you know what matters, man, is you. And I'm like, you know what? No one wants to help you. I'm going to teach you to drive. And he's like, are you serious? And I'm like, am I serious? And I taught him to drive. I took him, I got him his driver's license. I got him everything he needed, but he got all fucked up again. So, but that's what America's about. We're about, helping out our brothers and sisters, whether or not they're Republican or Democrat. But I do think not enough people are allowed to vote. You're Republican, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you believe felons don't belong voting. I mean, that's not
I
fair. That's not fair,
well,
brother.
well, I mean,
Why
if
do
you
you
break the
think that?
law, like, I mean, it's just
You can't say that. You're honestly talking to Reds over here, and you're going to tell me that when you break the law, that you don't deserve to vote.
well, I mean, if you're like rehabilitated, like or like then I wouldn't really care
There's no
about it.
chance in America to
But
rehabilitate. Do you understand that? Once you get the F behind your name, some of us in this life have been called what they call a third strike felon. So that
Mhm.
means that, the right to vote, the right to bear arms, the right of the actual Constitution, freedom of speech, freedom of expression, all that is taken from a felon.
well, freedom is
If you go out tomorrow and take your shirt off and you write on your shirt, you write on your chest, suck these boobies, I support breast cancer. People are going to cheer you on. And when the cops stop and say, hey, put your boobies away, they're going to go like, I want your name. And you'll give them your name and they'll be like, blah, 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 blah. They'll put it in the computer and be like, oh, you've never been in trouble before. You can go on. A third strike felon is going to take his shirt off, right? Grab these boobies, support breast cancer. The cop's going to come to the scene. He's going to say, hey, can I have your name and information? He's going to take his name and information. He's going to be like, freeze! On the ground! Hands up! Spend your life! Don't move! Don't breathe! 70-year-old third strike felon's like, I committed a crime when I was 17. And the cops yell, turn the
Oh.
oxygen off. You know? So, I mean, like I said, do I think a felon should be able to vote? Absolutely. I think that America has a justice system, and the idea of the justice system was written under the scales of justice, which let me tell you what that means if you look it up. And what it means is the rehabilitation in the United States of America is what the prison's been sent there for. So if you are
Uh-huh.
going to take a citizen off the street, whether it's your daughter when she turns 18 and gets a DUI and fatally hits somebody and they tell her she's got to do 25 to life, are you going to tell me that after she gets out, she shouldn't be able to become a nurse?
Oh no, like
No,
I
because she
think
did
she's
her time, right?
right.
But they're going to say, no, you can't become a nurse because you hit somebody and you're a felon. And that's not fair. That's not
That
fair.
yeah, I would agree with you on that part, yeah.
It's not fair. It's not fair. If your brother, your cousin, your uncle, if my brother, my cousin, uncle made a mistake, went out, was upset, emotional about something, and hit a kid that was crossing the road, and God
Hmm.
forbid he had one beer in his system, and they're like, you know what, your life's over. It's like after he gets out, he's supposed to have a life again.
Yeah.
So, and they say prison in America is supposed to, they're supposed to teach you how to be a civilian. So, it's yes, sir, no, ma'am. You eat breakfast at this time, you do this. Prisons wake you up before daylight to eat breakfast because they want you to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner appropriate times that a human they think should. So when you're in prison, they're waking you up at 4:30, 5 o'clock, and you're getting your fucking, you're hot in a cot, and then, you know what I mean? Then lunch is coming out at fucking 10 o'clock. And then dinner's coming out at 3 o'clock. And then you go to bed. So, again, after they've reorganized somebody, when they get out of this program, they're eating better than the common person. They are focused on their goals and they realize what it is to have everything taken. So now that they've everything taken, they should have the right to vote because they do have morals. They understand that voting, for an example, the next thing we're going to talk about quickly is the death penalty. Voting matters because those people that do have been in the system that are felons, they got an opinion because they've been to the big house and they've seen what happens if you don't kill off those that need to be killed off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, no offense, but like, I would love there's certain things like I agree with you when it goes to like voting rights. Like if you're a child predator, you're a rapist, you blatantly murdered somebody, and these things are crazy. But if you became a felon because, I mean, I don't know, man. The system's been so fucked up for so many years that to be honest with you, unless you went from like 1999 and back and wiped all the felons' criminal records, I mean, no offense, but the boys in blue were corrupt. You know,
Right. Yeah. I mean,
I mean, they were not in your area, but in the areas which I
no, but
grew up,
like,
Biggs. I mean, think about
yeah.
this. You pull over a kid, he's some punk kid. He keeps getting out in the street, no problem. You frisk him. He's got $10,000 on him. I mean, you stop him, you take the 10 grand, you send him on his way, right?
Right.
That's the old way, my friend. So
Yeah. I mean, you're not lying, I guess. I mean, I'm sure it's,
it's the old way. Other countries
it,
that haven't caught up to us, the old way. That lawyer and her husband went out for their first year anniversary over. I'm not going to mention the country because I don't want to, talk bad about other countries. But they went to a country that's very close to us. They went on vacation. They got pulled over by the police. The police said, "I know you guys are lawyers. Give me money, or you're not going leaving this traffic stop and locking up." Both lawyers were like, "Listen, we don't have much money." They're like, "Give me anything in your pockets and send them on their way."
yeah, that's messed up.
Exactly. And that's what years ago, that's what it was around the boys in blue and girls in blue. But it had nothing to do with that. It had to do with that, for years, it was like kind of like your gym teacher or your social studies teacher. A cop was in a position for fucking 30 years. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Now
Right.
they've realized that you really last about 10 years until you're sick of seeing the shit. And then they move you around and then you feel better about your position. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, if every day for 30 years you've been pulling people over, you eventually think because a person smells and looks like this that they're that criminal you saw for the last 30 years. It's probably not. It might be a guy that's just having a bad night or a girl, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it could be.
Or it could be your worst nightmare. So I'm not saying the police are wrong. I think police are right. I think police are
Yeah.
totally right. I do think, like I said, early stage police arrest I don't know that they were the best, but early stage surgery wasn't the best either. You have a bum knee and they're like, "Oh, we got to cut your fucking leg off."
Right.
Right?
Right. I
I
mean, shit.
mean, now you need surgery on your knee and they're
Now,
like, "Good morning, you'll be up tomorrow and you'll be walking."
right. Yeah, it'd be good.
So I
But
think you're a lot like my wife. I think you're a Republican because you agree with the values of respect the law, respect, political American values. But you also have to realize with being a Republican, that you have to adjust with today's time. And also, don't forget the most important part about having a political opinion, and that is that you have more, you morally feel a certain way about what you're speaking about. So many people now want to be a Republican. They're like, oh, they're behind whatever. It's like, you do not agree with, if I take a 12-year-old girl and a man your size, a woman your size, a man my size, a woman my wife's size tonight on the border, and we tie them up and we drag them through the sand after they've been traveling for fucking 15 days. They would drag me, you, and your wife, all this like that. We don't agree with that.
No,
We don't. We
no.
agree with, like, listen, you made it here. We can't go out and save you guys, but once you make it to this, we're going to open up our arms and we're going to help you, figure out what's best for you. And if it's America's best for you, then it is. I can't stand the fact that people think they're going to take our jobs. They don't even understand computers, Biggs. Like, you're specialized in certain things. Like, they don't even understand it, don't care about it. They care about the labor. And no offense, but the American people are almost done with the labor. Do you know what I mean? Like, you
Yeah.
don't have too many people that are Americans that are coming out of school going, I'm going to become a contractor, you know?
Right. Right. No,
You
you're
know?
right.
And it's nothing wrong with that. It's just we've kind of evolved ourselves, and we don't like doing lifting bricks all day long. But if these men and women think that that's a pleasure, then please lift the bricks.
Go for it.
Yeah, and if you can help us, you know, man, I would love that. And like I said, I'm not saying all Republicans don't aren't on for that, but lately a lot of Republicans are, for some reason, are really on this endemies. They're not worried about any more the moral value of things. They're just talking about, well, that's not a democratic value or a republic value. Like, dude, the border should be fucking open.
Right.
I mean, no offense, but the
Well,
border should be open.
yeah, it's a good point. As long as they come in legally.
Yeah, as long as they come in legally. And when they finally made it from their journey, we need to put them in not a hotel, but we need to put them in, like, a building where their kids can play with, their toys, and the kids can, see what it is to live the American damn dream, because you made it.
Hmm.
You made it here. I feel terrible that, with the whole migration system. And I really feel terrible, like I said, that, uh, both Republican and Democrat, and I'm a Democrat, have literally, the whole world's about politics. Nothing anymore. You can't. I mean, are you serious right now telling me that you can't stop assault rifles in fucking America?
Apparently not.
No, and Republicans are like, you'll never take the NRA, like the assault rifles, and even some Democrats. I'm not just pointing them, but I'm just saying, like, listen, man, this is so crazy. We are getting shot up every day, and you are telling me that I got to be afraid to take my kids to the zoo, or to this or to this or to this, because of the potential threat of an AR-15 coming in, that's a military side weapon, that even if I hide my child behind a brick wall, that the bullets that come out of that gun shoot through bricks.
Yeah, like
Are you telling me that when me and my wife hide in a corner and we're calling for 911, the cop that gets here is going to get out with a 9 millimeter, which gets stopped by, a little piece of tin, and the person that we're surrounded by is shooting with a military grade weapon?
yeah. And you know what? And that's the shit that fucking bothers me too when people say to like, "Oh, guns are the problem. Guns are the problem." No, the fuck they aren't. Guns are not the fucking problem.
Guns
It's
are
the
the
people
problem.
that no, no,
You shouldn't
no,
have military grade weapons. Are you telling
no.
me
What?
that you think that because you have no criminal record that your friend should be able to buy a tank?
No, no, no. Listen. If
Let me ask you a
if
question
you
before you go on this. Think about this right now. The state you're in, this Mr. DeSantis is very power to have anybody have what they want. You happen to live in a complex, and you can look this up because I know the stats of this because I'm really into this kind of stuff. Look how many people have been shot and killed in complexes because a neighbor was cleaning an AR-15, went through the drywall, and shot their child in their head in their bed. And you'll say they shouldn't be in our fucking neighborhoods.
I'm not saying that
Everybody
I
thinks
what I,
it's cool to buy an AR-15, Biggs. So I guarantee the neighborhood you live in, 50% of the men in there have an AR-15 in their closet, and if their little 16-year-old son's showing it off, it's got bullets that will go through 4 to 5 houses.
Well, and that's the fucking that's the parents' fault, you
No,
know.
it's the parents' fault. It is, but kids are spicy. It's my fault too that my kid gets in my bread cabinet, but he does. But in sense, you know what I mean? Like, listen, I'm not against people having guns. I'm against people having assault rifles. You mean to tell me you think it's all right that someone has a weapon that can fire 500 rounds? It's just a civilian?
If they have, proper freaking background checks on it. Like if they're clear from, like
Well,
I
that
mean,
try no,
if you're a
Biggs. That sounds
prior.
Biggs. Biggs, I had owned a couple of companies and I had a lot of employees, and a lot of them to run the companies I ran, you couldn't have criminal backgrounds. And I'll tell you, 50% of employees, if you gave them a gun, they would shoot up a school. Just because they have no criminal record, that has nothing to do with nothing. Biggs, there's no psychiatric exam. There's no exam. There's no exam.
Well,
You walk in there, you don't have a criminal record, you get an AR-15. You know what? That's a military weapon. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable, Biggs.
well,
I don't feel safe with the man that I love, you, driving when a kid or anybody can get a hold of an AR-15. If they want to shoot one fucking person, they let out 70 rounds that will pierce through steel cars like they're candy. But if you just let handguns, then let me tell you that it hits the car, and when it hits the little door, it stays stuck in the door. For people to have, they're called armor piercing rounds. They're assault rifles. They should not be owned by a common American. They should not. I don't care. I know you have a strong Republican view. We have the right to bear arms, but nothing in our Constitution said we had the right to bear military arms. These guns were created for mass. These guns that you accept, that you say that people should buy, Republicans, no offense, but these guns were made for our men and women to be able to go to a house in a different country. And when enemies were shooting out of windows, they were made for them to shoot through the bricks of the home so they could hit them when they would shoot out the window. They were made to pierce through homes and still be a bullet. They are not made for, 100 people in one town to have. I mean, that gun is serious.
I mean, it's a valid point.
I mean, it's just not cool. Like, a handgun, like say my son's walking to the trash can and some kid fired a gun, like the trash can stops the handgun. The AR-15, it goes through the big steel trash can out the other side, still a bullet.
I mean, what I was mostly saying is that, like, I mean, people are gonna blame the guns, but I mean, it's the people that use them are what
Yeah.
the problem is.
It's the people that use them, and it's not even the people that use them. It's the people that don't know how to use them.
I mean, if maybe there should be like a training course if you want to apply for a gun permit.
Yeah, there should be a training course, and then there should be something oriented, like I said, that you shouldn't have assault rifles. There should
Because
not
I'm
be a.
all,
If
yeah,
you're a
like I'm.
cop, you can have an assault rifle. If you're military, you can have an assault rifle. Listen, you cannot call 911 and have the people responding not have bigger guns to save your family's life than what people are shooting. That's not
Yeah.
fair. That's not fair. These poor cops are hopping out with a little fucking 9 millimeter fucking gun, and these guys are taking rounds that are like, I mean, it's unbelievable, dude. It's like the scariest thing that you could even imagine. America
Yeah,
needs to
but
say right now, we do not accept that. I don't care about the NRA. We don't accept AR-15s.
doesn't a standard cop car have a like assault rifle or at least a shotgun in it as
Negative,
well?
negative. They took them out because people would hop in cop cars and they'd have a shotgun. So there are patrol cars. The sergeants have tacs. And in certain areas like you, the sheriff department, some of them have tax. But again, it's firepower versus firepower. You're supposed to be able to secure a situation. It is not right that AR-15s are sold. It's not right. It's not right. And it's a political problem. And like I said, I can't believe America's to this point. People are shooting up grocery stores, schools, churches, fucking parties, events, uh, clubs. I mean, what the fuck is wrong with you people right now? Give them a
Right.
gun that can only shoot 7 times.
Right. Well, and you know what? And that's why people, I think, need to be more like, the good people that own a weapon. I think, we need more of those kind of people to be around to, like, save the day.
I
If
think it needs
something
to
like
be, doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat. I don't care if you're Republican president, Democrat president. I don't care if you're Republican governor or not. The rules are the rules. Same as the death penalty. You kill somebody, you're getting killed. You're caught red handed, you're done. Same thing it goes for the fucking assault rifles. If you're caught with one, you're done. I mean, you're fucking done. You're going up. You're going up for a long time. Dude, I'm sorry, man. I can hop out the car. If somebody wants to do road rage on me and my son and my daughter's in the car and I want to hop out and become a body shield, I just can't take an AR, bro. It will blow my it will just, I will become a hollow hole. It's impossible for a human that if someone's losing control and has no training on what to do, man, it is like that gun is like a paralyzing. I mean, I'm an owner of these type of guns, so I'm not saying that I'd be happy with the band, but I'm telling you that I have a gun where I can shoot in the woods and I can clear, I can cut down trees with a gun. I don't think the common person should have that weapon. I mean, I can literally spray in a line and just trim all the trees. And I'm
right.
talking big, big, pieces of trees dropping down. You shouldn't be allowed to have that in a little town. And
Not
you
like
shouldn't be
a
allowed
heavy
to have that in like I said, 50 people in my mother's. I told her this the other day in her condo development. I'm like, you probably got like 200 people carrying in there like heavy assault rifles. Like when they're out celebrating for 4th of July and they're putting 50 rounds in the air, every round comes down. What the fuck?
right. Like, what are you supposed to do then? It's
You're
gonna
supposed
hit
to
you in
do
the head.
that. It's going to hit somebody. Yeah. I mean, I think, like I said, if it's Republican or Democrat, we're going to end this soon. But in the sense, we'll have to do another time on the death row. But the Republican or Democrat, people need to have the basic morals. If you wouldn't want your if you won't want your kid to be in an environment where an assault rifle is being used to massively kill people, then we should ban them now in America because they are $500, if not $300 used, if not $200 used, and any Joe Schmo has one.
Right.
So I don't ever want um, I don't want that to stay in America. I really don't. I mean,
It's a valid point.
yeah. I mean, people can have their handguns. They can do their thing. They can have their big old shotguns. But I'm sorry, man. 500 rounds. We got to save that for the police, and we got to save that for people that are trained and we know they're supposed to do what they're supposed to do with it the correct way. You know what I mean?
Right. But
Like it don't make you feel good thinking that some little fucking kid could play with an AR-15 and fucking shoot through 5 walls of a house.
yeah, that's pretty crazy.
It happens once a week in Pennsylvania.
It's freaking nuts.
Yeah, it just happened the other week out in Susquehanna County. Then it happened in Langston. Then it happened in Philly. It's always one of these fucking 21-year-olds. He's drinking beer. He's showing his friend his fucking AR, and he fucking hits the trigger, and it's made to go through pure walls. So it goes usually 3 or 4 houses over, and he either strikes. The other day, it struck this woman sitting up in her fucking bed. She's sitting with her husband. Her husband looks over, and her fucking head's blown off. Fucking neighbor 2 doors down was cleaning his AR-15. You fucking jackass.
Jeez,
Yeah. And then
crazy.
everybody wants to
But
cry that he made a mistake and he really didn't try to shoot the girl in the head. It's like, The fuck are you talking about? You got a fucking military grade weapon and you're shooting it through fucking houses.
Right. Ay, ay, ay. Oh, freaking people. Freaking people
Yeah.
nowadays.
Well, we'll have to continue this politic conversation. I think I might turn you to be like an independent. Like you might agree with your Republican values. I've been trying to turn Julie forever, but when you look at the true values, you're going to be like, you know what? It doesn't matter Republican, Democrat. Like I'm for this. Like it's
Right.
that, you know?
And
Like
that's
shipping
fair.
people, DeSantis and this, he's doing whatever he's doing. But I'm just saying, like, I think we morally agree on the same values. I think,
Yeah, and that's fair.
yeah.
But all right, well then we'll do
I mean,
I
Christ's sake,
guess
you
what
don't even put your kids in school because of the fact of AR-15s.
well, right, yeah. Like
So you
she
honestly think that these people, you're afraid to put your child into school because of the potential threat of a mass shooting with an assault rifles?
not much more me, more the wife, but like because you hear about all these school shootings, so she's worried about that. Which she's got a valid point because it does happen. And
Well, she's got a
um
valid point, but eventually, But either way, banning assault rifles might help her, feel better about her day because, like I said, Biggs, I love you too much to have some jackass that's mad at his day to stand in a parking lot and turn in a circle and fire a gun that fires 500 rounds in less than seconds. By the time the people hear it, it's already cleared the entire parking lot. It's not like a,
right,
a regular gun that's a bang and a bullet. It's a
right.
It shouldn't be in Americans' arms. It should be only for our military. Why, in fact, we started selling military grade weapons to our civilians. My families are avid hunters and they all agree the same thing. Not only they waste the money to shoot, but what the hell can you
I
do with them?
right. I mean shit, you can buy a sniper rifle.
Yeah, you buy a sniper rifle, you can buy yourself a nice shotgun. I mean, all this stuff is one blast and done. I mean, we do not need a 500 round gun in civilian life.
No.
To kill a deer is one shot. You can't take more than one. They take one and they hit it, and that's it. If they miss it, they can't shoot again because the deer's gone. You know,
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're not really going to take an AR to go deer hunting,
you're right. You're
right?
not right. You're not taking an AR to deer hunt. And then the other side of things is, in reality, I mean, you're not taking an AR and putting it in your car. If someone carjacks you, you can't pull out an AR. If you shoot him, you shot everybody behind him.
Right.
And as for your house for home protection, if someone's in your hallway and you go to shoot him and you miss him, he went through your hallway wall into your daughter's head.
Yeah, that's why I would have a shotgun.
Exactly. The pellets hit
Yeah.
the shit and they're done. I mean, I'm telling you, my strong opinion is Republican, Democrat, anything, and Republicans are so strong on this NRA. Fuck the NRA. Like, God damn it, these people are killing people with true weaponry. They're chewing their bodies up with this weaponry. This is ridiculous. If you shoot a human, you got your femoral arteries, you got your heart, you got your brain. These are hard shots unless you're a marksman. You could shoot a handgun 7 times, Biggs, at a person and you might hit their toe. Okay? It's not as easy as people think. If you got yourself an AR, you'll probably chop their legs off. But the reality is you're not going to shoot anybody. So the people that have guns that act like silly people sometimes, you don't want them to have an AR when they're shooting at something because they might be just flipping out.
Right.
Like some
Well, I
guy's
thought
mad at his
like
girlfriend because he's cheating on him, and he decides he's going to try to shoot her house, and he shoots the 5 houses until he gets to hers, and each one is armored pierced. Like what the fuck?
when you bought an AR, like they wouldn't sell them full auto.
No, no, no. You can buy all that, bro. That's the NRA. That's the truth.
Hmm.
All of it's for sale. All of it's And it's like I said, Republicans are really strong behind this, and that's just because a lot of our senators and stuff they've been in it so long that they're invested in the NRA, they're in their stocks, and they don't want to see them lose. But I'm telling you right now, if there's a gun that shoots through our police officer's vest, well, you know what? That's not fair.
Yeah,
Because I
I
mean, I'm a
mean,
man, but when I call for help, I'm scared, and I want the cop to be protected because I don't want me and my wife like a scary movie looking out the window, and the cop's like, "Poof," like
right?
shit. There's our help. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like those. I mean, there's armor piercing. There shouldn't even be piercing rounds like in a regular, civilian's hands.
No, it shouldn't be in
That
the
I
in
would
the civilian's hands.
agree with.
And like I said, an AR-15, there's nothing in America you need 500 rounds for.
There really
And then
isn't.
if anybody that's a Republican, they say, no offense, but a lot of Republicans say that, well, the ones that are caught up into, if they say anything different, that makes them not a Republican. But if they just look at the morals, no one in their right mind is going to agree with a home defense weapon that shoots through your house and all your neighbors.
Right.
You know what I mean? Jesus,
Yeah.
Jesus Christmas. If a neighbor 5 houses down hears a sound and he decides to shoot an AR, it's going through 5 houses
Right.
because he heard a mouse. But if he would have shot a 9 millimeter, it would have stuck in the drywall.
Right.
So it just doesn't. I like my wife from New York, and they have a rule like New York City. They have a rule: you can have 6 bullets in your gun, and that's it. If you're caught with a gun that has more than 6 bullets, you're going to jail for a year. That's the
Right.
rule. That's a nice rule.
Mm-hmm.
Makes you feel safe because when you're out there and there's 100,000 people in New York City streets, 6 bullets ain't doing too much.
Yeah. But all right, well, I think that's been a pretty good, evening of a podcast. So we'll go into since we didn't get to really talk about the death penalty and our COVID vaccination, we will make this a two-part series. So this will be part one, and then come back, this maybe this weekend we'll hey, maybe we'll do it live. We'll do part two live, and you know and then we'll talk about more of the our takes on the death penalty, and then we'll talk about that COVID vaccine.
Yeah, COVID vaccine, death penalty, and then I want to go into a little bit of what it means to vote because we touched on that, whether felons can vote, whether they can't vote, and I want to go in on those that can vote, how important it is to vote, and I also want to go into, explaining what it means to vote for just your little, local town politicians all the way up to the president.
Good, good deal. All right, that's what we'll do then, and so we hope you guys have a great evening. Hope you like the show and come back for more. Again, follow us on all handles. Facebook, YouTube. Listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast. We're also on Twitter. Pretty soon we're going to be live streaming on Twitch. So if you guys are out on that, drop us a follow there. All just look us up at Red and Big Podcast. And
Yeah, and we
Red, it
need
was
you guys, man. We need you guys to keep us going. We're making these casts and we want to hear people, tell us something. Tell us you enjoy it, something.
exactly. And then, we also want guests too. And so don't be shy. Like if you want to reach out, please do so. Reach out to me and we'll get you set up and we'll get you on the show and you guys can definitely talk about what's on your guys' mind. So, but
Biggs, I hope you
all
have the
right.
best of luck tomorrow. Enjoy the zoo, okay?
Yeah, thanks, man. And
Yeah.
we'll see you this weekend.
Yeah. I love you to death.
All
Be
right.
safe, brother.
All right. Love you, buddy.
Bye bye.
Later.